And welcome back to another episode. Today I have with me Coach Tobi.
What is up? I have to be careful. Like, I have to adjust how I sit actually, because I did a hard workout this morning and I sat like this earlier and I got like a huge hamstring cramp in the middle of the call.
I hate
Yeah, it's
those.
some strange acrobatics to not have that happen. So I'm going to
If
fix
you
my.
start squirming or like run away, I'll know that you have a cramp. Well, welcome on. I just want to have you on the podcast just so that way people can meet you. Because you're kind of an interesting person. If you don't know much about Tobi, Tobi is one of our coaches on the Thriving On team. He's actually like the OG coach. You were my first hire.
Mhm.
You were my very first hire. Wow, we've been together for a long time, haven't we?
Yes. So all you have to know is I'm awesome. You may click off now.
Okay, cool. Bye. No, but tell them a little bit about you if they've never met you.
Ooh, where to start? So a lot of people, when we get into talking about where I'm from, what I've done, they're like, "You've done so much." Right? Um, well, most interesting fact, I'm originally from Germany. So some words I'm pretty good at pronouncing because I've lived here for since 2015 now. That's
Hmm.
quite a long time. But then there are some words where, you can definitely tell I'm not American. So, I'm originally from Germany, came to the United States. I played football, American football, for ever since. I did all kinds of sports, and I did them at a level where in Europe it's a little bit easier to make money for playing sports.
Yeah.
And I did most sports at a level where you get something for it,
So you
right?
play professionally. Yeah.
Some, not all of them, but some.
Yeah.
Um, Semi-professionally is probably like for like American standards, right? It's not
Yeah.
like millions, but semi-professionally.
Okay, cool.
And the dream was always to play collegiate football. So
Hmm.
the one thing led to another. I had help in the recruitment process, played for a European All-Star selection, which was supposed to be a setup game for American players that didn't end up getting drafted so that they have like another chance of proving themselves.
Yeah.
So that was fun.
Nice.
From there, ended up in Fargo, out of all places I could have chosen.
Fargo, North Dakota. I was about to say,
Fargo, it's,
what brought you to North Dakota of
yeah.
all places?
So it was probably more a thing of having played together with other former college players in Europe and
Hmm.
having coaches that have coached in a collegiate level and then got hired by a European team.
Mm.
Um, because it's so the European recruitment process is strange
Yeah.
because you put yourself out there and then schools express interest and then it's like, but where do you apply, right? It's like, if you don't know, if you are not from here, you have no ties into any area because of family, because of, so there was so much, so I just stuck to the areas where people were from,
Yeah.
right? And it was from Duluth, from Atlanta, from San Diego. Like, there were so many different places, so I just looked in those areas. And my biggest worry was, which was proven wrong like the week I arrived, my biggest worry was that I get lost in the shuffle and because I had nothing but a suitcase,
Hmm.
right? Um, which I didn't know that you were dropped in the middle of a 75 people deep roster and now you have 75 friends. They all think you're cool, right? So none of that was ever true.
Yeah.
I had a great time. College was amazing. Played college football, ran college track, and I had the biggest aspirations to become a surgeon. Right, did all the necessities. Was in a hospital. I did that back in Europe for a while, through schooling there, and decided that I don't want much to do with hospital politics.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, especially nowadays, they get kind of that same feel, right? Where they get very negative experience with healthcare professionals because, and I say this like from experience, it's usually not the doctor's fault, depending on the setting. It's you're taught to listen, diagnose, treat, next,
Mm-hmm.
right? So a lot of people, I think, we're normalizing that in the Western culture nowadays that we're looking to treat and not, that we're looking to cure and not just treat.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Health and fitness is becoming more and more normalized over the past few years. I think,
Yeah.
especially post COVID, like people take that stuff way more serious. Which,
And it's also the boom of social media
oh
too.
yeah,
Like there's so many people that are hating on social media. It's like so evil, so bad, but it's like, okay, one, who are you following? First of all, you need to take ownership of that. But two, one of the biggest reasons why nutrition fitness is now being regularized, oh, hard word, and also why a lot of research is being funded now is because the awareness through social media. It's actually a really great tool.
yes,
So,
the internet is amazing, and like
yeah.
it's a blessing and a curse at the same time.
Yeah.
Because research bias is a total thing. My
Yeah.
favorite analogy is if you, and anyone who's listening, they you can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And humor me and do so, and let me know what your findings are. But if you
Yeah.
type into Google if coffee is good for your eyesight, you will find yes. If you now Google if coffee is bad for your eyesight, you will also find yes, right? So that's depending on how you word your questions, all of these search engines
Mm-hmm.
that we apply, Google, YouTube, like all of that, like it filters the answers that it gives you to best match your search entry, right? So as great of a wealth of knowledge it can be, it can also be misleading,
Yeah.
right? And then you find a lot of people that demonize certain things, workout methodologies, habits, foods, ingredients, which, if we're looking at a healthy system, there's usually not much that needs to be demonized. Like if I
Yeah.
am sick, sure, there's certain restrictions that apply to me. But now people that demonize that, they come from a place of they were sick and they had to take an extreme approach to get them better. So now their idea is, well, if this worked for me, this has to work for everybody,
Yeah.
right? They come
Or
from a place of disorder eating, of
oh yeah.
substance abuse, those kind of things. And then they take that approach, what healed them,
Mm-hmm.
and then they teach that to others. But if you are now can't relate to their background, right? Like their very dramatic approach may not be for you, right? And this is now where a
Exactly.
lot of people have very negative experiences with social media, with the internet, with well, what
Yeah.
we do,
Yeah.
right?
Or
Remote.
extreme marketing strategies. It's
Yes.
flashy when you take a hard stand on something and you talk loud. Like it's just good for marketing. That's why like when you find people that are actually pretty good at their job and they don't have many biases, a lot of their answers is like I just it depends. And then that's not flashy. That doesn't get likes or
I
shares
know.
on social media, but it's
It's
what's
my favorite
right.
answer.
It is. And it's the most frustrating answer. It's like for a lot of them, it is. It is. It just depends. Like I had a client, oh, literally right before this call, she was like, "Wait, um, is it a myth that eating late at night is bad for me?" And I was like, "Bad in what context?" And so we had to talk about the difference between, okay, is this talking about losing fat, right? Or is it for overall health? Or like what's the initial goal? And the difference between losing weight and being healthy may not be the same thing for a lot of people.
Right.
And then going into, okay, so if it's for weight loss, it's all about calories in versus calories out, not necessarily during that time. So you're
Mhm.
fine there as long as you're within your calories. But in terms of health, there are some people that could really benefit. Like we were just having the discussion about
Yeah.
this. Like there's from early onset time restrictive eating,
Yes.
people with like perimenopause, postmenopausal, it actually really be beneficial. But for some people, it actually be really stressful. And then also There's some people it could negatively impact their health because it keeps them up at night if they eat late at night, and sleep is imperative. While I've also worked with clients that their blood sugar will drop in the middle of the night, and that's what wakes them up. So they do need to eat something closer to
Mhm.
bed. So it's a whole lot of great. It just depends. It's the context, right?
Absolutely.
So,
I told somebody else. Um, I was talking to a client, and it was the framework, or any kind of framework, is usually black and white terms, right? Or some
mhm,
gray area. But now what provides color is your individualized context. And if you're stuck in a framework, or you were sold on a program that doesn't allow for your pop of color to be added, now you're not going to paint the ideal picture that you would like to paint, right?
mhm.
You're now getting, you're now
He's just got a thumbs up on his video.
you're now getting results that you may not be able to keep. You may get anti results, right? By that I
Mhm.
mean that I'm moving in like further away from where I actually want to go. And that's not because what these people are telling you. It's like, I truly, truly believe that nobody, even the people that tell you information that doesn't work for you, that they do this with malicious intent.
Yeah.
I truly believe that everyone who's trying to put information out there, that's what they believe. They
Yeah.
100% try to help. It's just that sometimes nuances are misinterpreted, right? We're speaking from a place of, well, past struggles that I have overcome, and I'm now trying to take them
Yeah.
and help as well. So,
100%. And I'll even admit this too, is like early on in my nutrition journey, I 100% was struggling with like orthorexia.
mhm.
And I
What's that mean?
would also, for those of you that don't know what orthorexia is, it's a type of eating disorder, or disordered eating pattern, where you are scared to eat anything but clean food. Like you're so obsessed with only eating clean. And I think, especially when somebody has more of an obsessive behavior like me, you're pretty prone to it, especially when you dive into the nutrition fitness industry. You take a hard extreme. And in my cases, and we've seen this with plenty of our clients, I know that you've worked with some of them as well, Toby. This is why I always explain that,
I was talking to one this morning.
yeah, like food quality, yes, it's important, but that's not the only thing that's important. There are other, like I say, like pillars, kind of like that Greek
Yes.
building with the roof on top, and you have pillars. If one goes down, the rest goes down too. It's like the key pillars to having a healthy, like a nutrition foundation, is
Mhm.
it's not just about food quality. It's also about your macronutrients. What's that ratio? You don't necessarily have to
For sure.
macro count to have a good macro ratio, but it's still important.
Yes.
And then also how many calories that you're taking in. And like I would hyper focus on quality of food. I was perfect on my macros, but my calories were so low. Now we're in a situation where I have a horrible relationship with food. I was over obsessive over my food. And now Toby knows this. He's helping me with this. I'm overcoming a lot of hormonal issues. And a lot of it was stemmed from just the extremes that I put myself under. And as I was doing this as a coach when I was a very young coach. And a lot of the things that I was struggling with in my beliefs, because I was in it, like it's hard to see it when you're in it. When you're taking an outside perspective on the other side, it's like, okay, yeah, I see it. But like when I was in it, I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought
Mhm.
I was just teaching him what I knew. And I thought that was right for me. And I didn't really see the negative impacts that it was happening on me at that moment. And so while there were some clients that got really great results and things like that, there were some clients I do believe that I accidentally gave them some of the disordered eating pattern habits that I had, right? And I know we've had this conversation too, Toby. It's a lot of times that coaches, when they start coaching, they're trying to fix themselves on other people,
Mhm.
right? And so I don't think it's necessarily a good or bad thing. Again, like I love how you pointed out that it's not necessarily malicious intent. I
I
think
don't
that
think it ever is.
no, and I would have never become the coach that I am today without things like that,
Mhm.
without those experiences and learning what not to do. It's just as important.
Oh, for
So,
sure. It's like
yeah.
that's how improvement works, right? One of my favorite examples to do with clients that get hard on themselves for taking a step back, right? In
Mm-hmm.
quotation marks, is if you're trying to teach somebody where that perfect strike zone on a baseball is, right? You put that baseball on a tee and, well, go ahead and swing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? If you hit it too high, it's going to go straight forward. So now you learn, oh, let's not hit it at the top,
Yeah.
right? And then you just try again.
Yeah.
Oh, it went a little to the left. Try again until you
Exactly.
find that perfect strike zone, and then you just repeat. And now, the more often you hit that strike zone,
Mm-hmm.
now when you don't, it actually becomes funny because you know that's no longer that normal you, right?
Exactly.
You have reinvented yourself, and now because you are good more often than not, that means you're not perfect, but you're
Yeah.
good more often than not. The times when you're not, you can actually laugh about.
Yeah. It's like I say this, it's like it's giving yourself permission to practice.
For
Like
sure.
in practice, it's not game day. You're in practice. Game day is later on. You're in practice time. And in practice, you give yourself permission to fuck up. You
You
do
should.
drill after drill after drill. You try new things, and it's okay to fuck up, especially at the beginning, because you and your coach or your team are like, okay, what can we learn from this? What can we build? What like skills do we need to build or anything like that? And I feel like a lot of people in nutrition fitness industry, whether they're coaches or they are a client or they're in their own journey, they give themselves very little permission to practice. They have this unrealistic expectation and pressure that they have to be game day every day. And it's like, no, majority of the time
Yeah.
you're in practice mode. Very little periods of time you're in actual game mode. So,
Right. We
but
talk, that's one of my favorite questions to ask, right? It's like,
yeah.
we need to figure out, like, everybody wants a plan. Everybody wants a plan. Right? And I'm an idealist. I like to know what is optimal, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is for me in this situation? What would be optimal? Cool. Now that we know that, let's assess where are we at right now. And then I just, oh my God, these effects are
I don't like
wild.
these features. If you're not watching the video right now, if you're on Spotify, you're listening. In the video, Tobi is moving his hands. I don't know why it's not doing it for me, but he's moving his hands, and he got a thumbs up earlier, and it just went full blown black screen and fireworks everywhere.
Fireworks. Yeah, it's
I don't
wild.
even know what you did. Did
People
you just do
celebrate
like a?
because people celebrate my ideas. That's why.
Oh, that's why.
No, so but now that we know the optimal, like where would things be in a perfect world?
Yeah.
Right? Let's assess where are we at right now, and based on that, I just ask the question. Now that you know that, what's the easiest thing you can do to get you closer to that spot? What's the
Yeah.
easiest thing? Right? I had one client, she was like, "Oh, now that I know that, I should probably add an afternoon snack." Boom, optimal calories.
There you go.
And it wasn't even that difficult. All we had to do was point out how good could things be, and then you know yourself right now, and let's be honest with ourselves, right? What can you do to get yourself not even there, but closer? And that was the easiest thing. She said, I just add a little bit of a protein shake and a handful of nuts. So now she's optimal calories. We're within optimal ranges of all the macronutrients, and
Mm-hmm.
out of the sudden we feel better,
Yeah.
right? It can be
100%.
it should be that simple.
Yeah, and that was exactly what Amy pointed out. Amy is Tobi's client, and she was on a podcast earlier. If you haven't watched the episode, go ahead and do that. She's phenomenal. She came in enjoying Thriving On when she was pregnant. And so I had her talk about the whole process of like, why did she join and get nutrition coaching while she was pregnant? Like, what did she do during pregnancy, post pregnancy? And at the end, I had her talk about some of the tactics that she's currently using right now for a successful fat loss phase while with you. And one of the things that she said, it was like, she was like, the biggest thing is that I'm just adding a little bit to currently what I'm doing right now. I'm not making any dramatic changes. And it was very spot on to what you just said. So it really is impacting
Oh,
how
it's
she's.
almost like I had this conversation with a client.
Oh my gosh. It's almost like it works. But I do want to backtrack. By the way, guys, Tobi and I go a lot of rabbit holes. Sometimes our conversations are circles, but hello, ADHD brains, right?
Right.
You put two of them in the same conversation, it's going to be a bunch of circles. But I want to backtrack to you. You becoming a surgeon, you
Ooh,
wanting to become a surgeon.
yes.
Why did you want to become a surgeon in the first place?
So I have a huge passion. So I got injured pretty badly
Mm.
playing football. Um,
What'd you injure?
my shoulder,
Oh,
like to a place where I didn't even move from the field. The only thing that was moving, I was like kicking my foot up and down just to like, hey, I'm all right, but I that's all I got.
yeah.
So we had an ambulance. My jersey got cut open, and I spent 2 weeks in the hospital. It wasn't a great time, and I was told, and that was just a temporary fix, just so that I can go back home because we were like 6 hours away from where we came from. We traveled,
Yeah.
and the I met with so many doctors because I still had this idea I was gonna go play collegiate football.
Hmm.
And all doctors that I met with, they were like, no, you will never play contact sports again. And I refused to believe that. So I met with one doctor after another until I got the answer that I wanted. And we actually went for the people that don't know, like Germany's national sport is soccer. And I got to talk to the surgeon that does one of Germany's Division One soccer teams. It's like think of this as an NFL team's doctor.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh yeah, I'll fix that. You'll be fine." And it's
Dope.
just that's what I said. And it was like that feeling of relief and being granted a chance after being told no. Like before the surgery, I had resting heart rate.
Hmm.
And they were like, "Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm completely fine. Like this is part of the journey."
Hmm.
Right? Because I had so much trust in someone that told me, "Hey, I can fix this." And I was like, "I believe you because you're the first one." And then actually having gone down that path, I was like, "I want to help."
Hmm.
Right? And then my grandma got really sick and there was no one there to help. And I wanted to not have people feel that way. So I said, I got to become a doctor to be the person to help. And then I took that passion for helping people after finding that surgery in a hospital sitting isn't the way for me. So I
Yeah.
took that passion and I was like, where can I bring that? What is actually keeping us to needing doctors, right? And it's we never seek out doctors until there's something wrong, right? So what if we could prevent things from going wrong or try at least our hardest to delay that as much as possible, right? And I think that movement, nutrition, those kind of things are the key, right? So I was like, I will take that passion and I bring that there.
I've
Right?
noticed a huge trend of a lot of people doing that. Like
Yeah.
there, I know so many fellow like online like health and fitness professionals that were nurses or dietitians or nutritionists, or I currently work with a functional doctor that she was a conventional uh, PCP,
Hmm.
and she's just I loved the people. I loved my clients that I worked with, but I just didn't like how I was able to service these people. I wanted to take more of a preventative approach, and you're just seeing this trend. Like I have a lot of friends. There was a point in time that I honestly wanted to go back to school to become a dietitian. And so I talked to a friend that was coaching as well, and she was a registered dietitian. I was like, "What do you think?" And she was like, "Don't do it. It's not worth it." And I was like, "Why?" And she's like, "Because it's not applicable, right? You're going to be learning how to fix like not fix sick people, but it's again, it's not a preventative approach, it's a reactionary approach." And she just went on about how like a lot of the stuff that is in there is extremely outdated, and you're going to be doing a bunch of clinical work. She's like, it's better just to keep doing what you're doing. You're actually going to make a better impact and learn more in terms of coaching and helping people create change if you just stay within coaching. And I think a lot of people are noticing that. I know that quite a few people have become like dietitians or nurses, and they just feel very unfulfilled, and they're in this position, I want to help. And so they're trying to find other avenues. I literally had a conversation with a girl that's a nurse, and she's like, I want to get coaching. I want to learn how to coach other people because I just feel so unfulfilled with what I do. I know that you work with a lot of people in the healthcare industry too.
Yes. And, after, I don't know. I don't want to talk shit because there's a lot of people that are great.
Oh yeah, and it's not the people. There's always bad seeds. Like there's good coaches and there's bad coaches. I'm sure that there's some people out there that could potentially be better, but that's part of the human experience. But
Yeah.
it's more systematic than anything.
If you have bad experience with a physician, there might be people that have great experiences with them,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Same thing with coaches. There's coaches that get phenomenal results for their clients, and then you work with the same person and you butt heads and you don't get results, and they like tell you the wrong advice and you listen and you go the wrong way, and now it's like that creates the picture that you paint about that person, right?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
Now, I think what is hugely beneficial is having somebody that has gone down the route that we took, where it is more, let me meet people on their level, right? Where they are willing to speak eye to eye with us. Like a lot of people, I find it's like when they talk to a doctor, they just like blindly listen because we have this like white coat syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's when they talk to us, which is why I usually don't like to flaunt what I've gone through, what I'm in the process of doing, because I don't want like people to just blindly listen. I want that feedback, that connection, that human experience,
Yeah.
right? What works for you? Hey, we made this change. How did you feel?
Yeah.
Right? Um,
Can you
so
go a little bit in depth right there? And this is one of the reasons why I'm very, very thankful to have Tobi on staff, is because he's able to bring a lot of stuff that I will never be able to do because I don't have the experience or the education. And he just announced not too long ago, I think we were on a call, that you're going to go after another big goal of yours. You mind sharing?
yes, I'm going to finish what I started, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not going to finish becoming a surgeon, but
Mm-hmm.
I will finish my doctorate,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
But now I've changed avenues. It's now functional medicine, clinical nutrition,
Mm-hmm.
right? I truly believe that's where we can prevent so many things that plague people as we get older, because everyone works, right? We've normalized this in Western culture. It's like work, 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 so that you can retire and then enjoy your money,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, but we work, 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 and then we get super sick.
Yeah.
Now that's where your money goes,
Yeah.
right? And now
Exactly.
you can't travel, you can't enjoy, you don't miss or you don't see your grandchildren's games, your grandchildren's accomplishments. You don't, because it's too late. So I truly believe that like functional healthcare, and what I mean by functional healthcare is like a triangular approach,
Mm-hmm.
right? Lifestyle, nutrition, and movement. I don't even want to say fitness, because that means so many different things for other people, right? If I can live my life fit, to me, that just means that I have the ability to do the things that I feel like doing.
Mm-hmm.
Can I go on a bike ride? Yes. Can I go work out? Yes. Can I go hiking? Can I go swimming in the ocean? Can I go skiing? Like skill that I need to acquire those things put aside. But
Yeah.
am I in the position to doing these? If so, I am fit,
Yeah.
right?
And why else do this but to be able to do those kinds of things? To
Yeah,
create the memories that they want to live your life.
100%, right? And if I have missed the mark on that, or I just wasn't told any better, I truly believe that anyone who is in a position where they're now sick, diseases, injured, if somebody would have told them better, they would have never ended up there.
Oh, 100%. I know I wouldn't have,
Yeah.
like, with
And
everything that we're going through. Yeah. It's, I think that with the passion that you have and the credentials that you do have and you will be completing, I mean, this gives you the ability to service a lot of people that aren't able to be serviced. Like, I've heard some really great stories with your clients that you've been able to see some fantastic results where they haven't been able to see any, like Melanie, for example, How many autoimmune disorders does she have? A lot? 3?
4, 2.
3 or 4? And that's that's hard. That's a hard
It
thing.
just makes life so much harder
Hmm.
than it is, right? And the problem with those is, and I hear that all the time because through what I do and the passion that I have, it's almost like you attract like a certain kind of person that seeks help from you, right?
Hmm.
Which is why we've gotten people off of thyroid medication, off of metformin, off of like
Antidepressant,
we
anxiety
got
medication.
people that have had certain inflammatory markers on their blood work high for the past 17 years to come back normal. It's people always say the same thing. It's that they don't know how shitty they felt because they thought everybody feels the way that they do and that's normal,
Hmm.
which is not,
Hmm.
right? It's like you don't know how good you could feel unless you feel better.
Yeah. It's like they're like, "Oh, I feel fine. I have enough energy. I'm not bloated or things like that." And it's like compared to what? And they're
Right.
like, "Wait, what?" And it's like that's all you've ever experienced potentially your whole life or for the past couple of years. And your brain's going to normalize things. Like it cannot function if it feels every single little thing that you feel. Like for example, your shirt, like you feel it for a couple of seconds and then it's gone. You don't even notice it for the rest of the day because if your brain communicated with you everything that you're feeling, you
Good
wouldn't be
luck.
able to function.
Oh, your brain would
Yeah.
look like my fireworks background a few minutes ago.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like it's just so like over a period of time what you feel is like normal, it may actually not be normal. It may be normal to you or common to you, but it's not normal. And the only way for you to actually feel that is to get on the other side and actually feel what it means to feel great. And you're the one that comes in and really helps out people who have struggled their whole life, hasn't gone to like I know I've had multiple conversations with some of the people that you're working with and you're getting amazing results. And they're like, dude, I've been to doctor after doctor, coach after coach. I've tried diet after diet and nothing's working. And now I actually feel great while doing it. I'm living my life. I'm actually seeing results after struggling for so many years. Like,
We had we had doctors of clients ask if they can put our information into their clinic.
yeah, I know.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
And a lot of it is a big thanks to you and what you do. Like it's phenomenal to see what you can
collaborative
do with your
effort. We're
clients.
a team.
What?
Collaborative effort. We're a
Yeah.
team,
Yeah, of course.
right? Nobody
Um,
can do. It's like together works so much better.
oh yeah. And we've had this conversation multiple times. Like I've never dreamed of having a business by myself. I know there's some like companies out there where it's just their face, they're the face of the brand. I've never wanted that. I wanted to be a part of a team. I just wanted to help people and be a part of a really dope, cool people that knew more than I did in certain situations and hopefully I can help them as well and we just work together to help people out. That's all they've ever wanted. And thanks to Toby, it's been it's been coming true. It is true. It is true. One of the cool things that you do as well is you are you are the functional nutritionist on staff. And one of the big responsibilities that you have is anybody that comes into our door, we do provide blood panel analysis.
Hmm.
And so Toby is more than experienced, is also certified in reading blood work and communicating to our clients of what that means and a lot of different other things that go into it. We're actually about to jump on, I think, Thursday in
Hmm.
a couple days. If you're watching this later, this is probably going to be in the past, but we're sharing my blood panel analysis within our Surviving and Thriving Facebook group. So if you want to look into it and see him at work and see what it looks like on the back end, you're more than welcome to. I'm 100% transparent on everything. He'll just look through everything and tell me what's what and tell me what to do with nutrition fitness. But Toby, can you go a little bit more in depth as to what exactly the blood panel analysis is and how is it different than, let's say, going to a doctor?
Absolutely. So, which is funny because I just talked about this. Like my coaching call that was with a client that was just before this
Mm-hmm.
was about some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So when we go to a doctor, um, what they can do is they can legally draw blood and analyze it, and then they send us the results. But what they normally do is they send you a marker, no explanation as to what that marker is. Then they send you your number that's with it. And then if that number is above, below, or within the normal range. Now, normal range just means that generally speaking, people aren't sick if it's within this, right? So there's a
And
huge,
don't those ranges vary from state to state too?
oh yeah, state
Yeah.
to state, even laboratory to laboratory.
Oh, Jesus. So you can have a thyroid condition in one lab, and the other lab, you're completely normal.
Yeah, depending on,
Yeah.
or in one state, and then you take the same results to your next doctor and you move from Nebraska to Texas, and now I don't know if that's actually like if it's those two states. I do know for a fact that they're different from lab to lab and from
Yeah.
state to state.
Yeah.
Um, so you might get medication here and not there.
You might get diagnosed in one
So,
area and get your help and be
so
dismissed in
what
another area.
we don't do is we don't diagnose, right?
Yeah.
The goal is to educate, right?
Yep.
I want you to have so much information and knowledge about yourself that you can now go advocate for yourself when the people that are responsible to help you won't listen,
Yeah.
right?
Or
And
advocate for yourself and do things for you. You don't have to necessarily be sick to get a blood panel
you
analysis
know,
either.
you can just
It,
go.
it's more of a preventative approach with health, and it's also like blood work does not lie. It tells you exactly what's what, like if something's
It
working or
can
not.
be, it can be skewed, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of things that I can do like currently that will change results. Like if I'm on like a wide variety of supplements,
Oh yeah.
they might affect that. If I'm on a birth control method as a female, that is
Mm-hmm.
going to change the readings of my blood work, right? If I'm fasted, if I'm not fasted, if I've just worked out. So as long as we can at least be aware of some of those factors,
Mm-hmm.
right? They may explain some results. Now, but the interesting is what we do is we don't just look at the standard range, right? We look at an optimal range, above or below optimal, and then high, low, extremely high, extremely low.
Mm-hmm.
And we will group all of those markers in a certain amongst that scale, I
Mm-hmm.
suppose. It's a way to put it. And it will show us certain trends, right? Like nothing will be explained by just one marker,
Mm-hmm.
right? Just because one marker is out of whack, we don't have to lose our mind. We don't have to stress. That's probably going to do worse things if I freak out,
Mm-hmm.
right? We need to look at the bigger picture. And that's what blood work allows us to do. Hey, I'm not losing weight and my skin is breaking out. Well, it could be stress, it could be the food you're eating, it could be an underlying condition that we don't know. You do all the right things for X amount of years, and you just can't seem to move yourself in the direction that you would like. There's probably something holding you back because all of these diets with cool names and workout methodologies, in theory, they all work. And if they don't, there's a reason for that, right? So blood work can provide the answer for that frustration,
Yeah.
right? So
100%.
we look at that, and then from there we can figure out, right? It's if people have followed us, you and I have done training before on supplementation,
Yep.
right? But that is all from a healthy perspective. If
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with you, these supplements will be essential, these are recommended, and these you're probably going to waste your money on.
Yeah.
Right? But if we look at blood work, we might be able to see individual deficiencies of nutrients, of minerals,
Mm-hmm.
right? Of, hey, this intense workout methodology is causing you more harm than results, right? These lifestyle factors might be able to get you the results, right? So we can get you to feel the way you deserve to feel. We can get you the results that you deserve to get, or we can refer out to people that are specialists in, right? Like, hey, I've done that with a client where I was like, hey, all the markers that say blood sugar are dangerously high. You should consult with your physician, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, her physician said, I'm not too worried. You should get a second opinion, right? Because blood work doesn't lie. And according to all the sources out there that you can research yourself, right? Like the American Diabetic Association being one of them, you should go check up on this,
Yeah.
right? So changed their physician. They did a follow-up blood work, very, very similar, almost identical results, if not a little bit worse.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, turns out she was diabetic and nobody ever told her.
And all thanks to you for advocating and being like, you need to go talk to a doctor.
Follow up,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's I didn't tell her she was diabetic. I just says, hey, like if I was you, like this would be concern, like knowing what I know, this would concern me. I would consult a specialist, like somebody that does this and only this.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. It's more of a preventative approach. It catches things before it gets really bad.
Absolutely.
It allows our clients to really advocate for themselves, that they feel like again, if you feel like something is wrong and you are being dismissed, and it doesn't happen all the time. There are some really great doctors. We have a lot of clients that were like, stay with your doctor. Your doctor's really great. But there are some times where we do have to help our clients advocate for themselves and give them touch points. And I know that there are some clients that you are also communicating with their physicians directly to help, more of a collaborative approach as well. But I think a big thing that's different between, like, let's say going to a doctor in us is that most of the time when you go to a doctor, it's as simple as, hey, markers out of range, doesn't really explain what it means or anything like that. But a lot of times it's given medications, or in some cases it's outdated information or information that's not applicable because they have a literally 15-minute snapshot. There's so much context below the surface that they need to know to be able to accurately give you suggestions on nutrition, fitness, and lifestyle if they are educated in that. Where jumping on a call with Tobi, what it's going to be like is that he's going to read that to you. He's actually going to explain it to you. What does that mean? What are the costs of not changing it? What are the benefits of changing it?
How are some feel?
Yeah, exactly. And then also he's going to give you the tools that you need in order to create change through nutrition, fitness, and lifestyle, because that is our scope of knowledge. But he will also give you information or answer your questions on how to advocate for yourself if you do need to talk to your doctor or a specialist or anything like that. So it empowers you. I think that was one of the biggest things that I wanted our clients to feel empowered. Feel like they have somebody in their corner that they can ask questions, they can go to, that they feel confident in themselves. Because when I went through my whole journey, when I first started, I didn't know what I was doing. And when I first started, there wasn't a lot of information about hormonal health. There was very few. There was starting to uptake. There was some people on social media, some people talking about it, but not like today. And so I didn't know what to do. And I felt extremely overwhelmed. I remember like just crying, feeling like I was broken. I felt like so helpless. And I remember the first time I jumped on a call with somebody that does something very similar to what Tobi does. And he went through everything. He's like, oh no, Casey, like there is something wrong and we can fix this. Here are the steps to get started with it. On the call, I literally made a fool out of myself. I started bawling because I immediately felt relief. Like I was like, I finally feel heard. I feel taken care of. I feel like I'm not stuck. I'm not broken. And that's ideally what we want our clients to feel as well. And so like you'll see it in the training. Maybe we'll share it on the podcast. I don't mind taking that recording and put it on the podcast too, so you guys can see that too. I'm an open book, but like he gives all the nutrition intervention, like answers all the questions on that. He gives you all the lifestyle things that you should probably be considering. He gives you alterations to your fitness if you need to. And legit, if you execute the stuff, you will start seeing the results that you want,
Yeah,
right?
I
It's as
just
simple
gave
as that.
somebody a food list. Hey, based on this, these are probably the foods I would stay away from, and these are
Mm-hmm.
probably the foods that I would include,
Yeah.
right? From there, we can provide supplementation
Mm-hmm.
to aid your body in the things that it's mostly deficient in,
Yeah.
right? So,
100%. Yeah. It's a really, really cool too. And it's great to have somebody on staff that's knowledgeable enough to be able to do that and do that proficiently and make a really, really great impact in people's lives. It's really great to see from an outside perspective of what he's able to do. So it's fantastic. Um, do you have any like case studies that you want to share of some fun things that you've been able to achieve with some clients?
yeah, I mean, it goes from, right, we work with Joe, and
Mm-hmm.
we were like, dude, you should reward yourself with all the hard work you're putting in. Let's schedule a photo shoot, right? So he did that, and for the first time, and after we got done working, and how long he had like a killer six pack and everything. So
Yeah.
it goes from just doing that, what most people think dieting is all about, to having people that came to us on like dependent on medication like metformin, like you just shared on your podcast, to
With
coming.
Nicole, 100%. Yeah, Nicole, that was a case study is like Nicole came in. I remember vividly one of her big goals is like, I want to get off this metformin thing. It sucks. And I'm like, yeah. And for those of you listening, metformin is a medication for blood sugar regulation.
Yes.
In her case, she has insulin resistance. And one of the big contributors as to why she has insulin resistance is stress. And just from learning about her history, we strongly believe that one of the big contributors is she was just always dieting, always under eating. And then when she did eat, she was eating a lot of foods that spiked her insulin. You start doing that enough, you'll start developing insulin, and in some extreme cases like hers. And so,
Again, right,
yeah,
it's, think of that as you already gave the perfect example of you wear your shirt and you stop noticing it, but then you
yeah,
put one back on and then you notice it after you haven't worn it for a while. It's the same thing.
yeah,
When your insulin is constantly elevated, eventually your body will, it's white noise, your body will stop noticing, and then it
yeah.
will eat more and more and more, and then
Yeah. It causes a lot of resistance. Like
a
Toby is
lot.
saying, is like you can still see results. You can still lose fat if that's your goal or build muscle. But if you have some type of weight loss resistance, whether it's a hormonal imbalance or your internal health is not great, or you just don't have the great game plan for you, it
Hmm.
will be met with a lot of resistance. So you can still get there, but it's like, how do you want to get there? Right? Do you want to travel a mile in hot sand and try to run that? No, nobody wants to do that. That sucks. I would much rather like jump in a car with some air conditioning, put my favorite song on, and drive it in a couple of seconds. Like, it's like, how do you want to do it? If you remove the weight loss resistance, which is one of the things that Toby comes in and he really solves for a lot of people, now it's much easier, it's much more sustainable, and it's much more enjoyable to see the results because you also feel great while you're doing it. You're also extremely healthy and you have peace of mind that this is going to make you better, both physically and mentally in the long run. Right. And so, yeah, like she recently just got a metformin. Um, I know, like, like, is there any other case studies that you're comfortable? Like, if it's private, don't worry about it. We want to respect our clients' privacy. But, like, there's some cool stories
Yeah.
I've heard you tell me about that I think would be
Yes.
really great to
We
share.
have people that are suffering from arthritis, migraines.
Mm-hmm.
They feel better. Like some of those things, like they can't be cured without medication, but they can be much more tolerable, right? We
Yeah.
can increase the time or the interval between like episodes, right? Which just
Mm-hmm.
adds vitality back to your life. We have people with autoimmune diseases that
Mm-hmm.
come back and their autoimmune markers on blood work flag negative,
Yeah.
right? There's so many. I was just joking the other day because we just recently made that transition that we're jumping on calls. Before it was just like a video review plus
Mm-hmm.
like a call every other week. And we were like, no, talking to people is much better and creates much better impact and results and connection.
Yeah.
So we talk to people every week,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I was, ever since I've been wearing Thriving On colors, I send 2,399 video recordings. Right? So it's like there's so many, right, that we could name.
It's really cool just to hear the stories of what you're able to do with your clients. Like, it's like again, like I've had people message me just being like, "Thank you so much." Like, I'm finally off of antidepressant medication, anxiety medication, off of metformin, not having migraines anymore. I know Melanie jumped on a video and was just bawling because one of the things that she always wanted to do is just move without pain. She loved lifting weights. She loved Zumba, but she couldn't even, like when we first started with her, she couldn't even walk. She could barely even walk. And you got her to the point and you built her up and guided her through nutrition fitness to be able to start doing the things that she loved again. And she loves to bake. And before she was like, I can't even eat these foods. And you helped her figure that out. It's like you're giving people's lives back through
Yeah.
what you do, which
I
is,
mean,
it's
now
awesome to
that we're
see.
speaking about giving somebody their life back, it's our main man, Lars.
Oh, Lars.
Oh,
Team Lars. Oh my goodness. Lars is like our mascot. He's been with us since the
Lars,
beginning. We love him so
Lars
much.
is great. Like,
He's from Sweden too.
if I visit Sweden, I'll come. I'll have to go. I'll knock on Lars's door.
100%.
It's right. He was got his back injured and
Mm-hmm.
went from one doctor's appointment of not. I hope he doesn't get upset when we share this. Right, from one failed surgical appointment to the next because it was like, you're too heavy, your blood markers, you're too high risk based on this.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And he came to us, and I think they flipped the script on him, and you and I were both on a call with him where he was like, they gave me one final appointment, they lowered the necessity of weight and all of these blood work markers, and we had like 3 to 4 weeks to make it happen.
Yeah. I remember
Right?
the whole team got on and we just
Oh,
brought all of our
we
expertise to help
were
him.
we were like, yeah, he was with a different coach, and I was like, I'll be there every week. I'll hop
Mm-hmm.
on, I'll help, right? If you need mindset help, like Casey's gonna come in. If you need we need some functional nutrition help, I'll come in. And we told him, I mean, we don't always do it the sustainable way, because what we did with him was a little bit unsustainable, right? We even went
It was what was needed. Like the cost to that is like, obviously we took a little bit more extreme measures to get him to
100%,
get that
right?
surgery,
But
but it was triaging it. The other choice is for him to not get a surgery, I think for another year. And he could barely even walk. He was
he had
on
a
pain medication.
driver, right? He had a driver that he hired. He was in a
Yeah.
wheelchair.
And he owns his own business. He has a family he has to provide. His
It
business was going to
was
go under. Like he couldn't afford this. Like we had to get him to make weight. And
was a point of no return.
yeah. And props to him. He did the work. And I remember being on calls with him because, like Toby said, I'm more of like the mindset side of things. And Lars likes to talk to me because I give him the kick in the butt that he needs just to keep going and put his head
Mhm.
down and keep working when things get hard. It's the point of a coach. And Toby does this with his own clients. It's not just the information, it's also making sure that you keep doing the work and holding yourself accountable to it. And he showed up, he put his head down and he did it and he made weight. He got the surgery. So that's fantastic. And now he's working with you currently right now, basically on the mend, working back up, which is gonna be a long, long
Especially if you've been in a place where you're going almost pro in bodybuilding to a place
yeah.
where you can't walk,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? So now Lars has
Yeah.
been with us for a while.
Yeah. For those of you that are listening, so Lars first started his fitness journey in bodybuilding. He got a bodybuilding coach.
Hmm.
And so we went through extreme measures with that. And his coach did give him a little something, something to help with that, which did, in the long run, we had this discussion. We had to look at his blood work, did tank his testosterone. Like the coach did not do a good enough job to make sure that his hormones stayed healthy during that time. That's unfortunate. story for some coaches. There are some really great bodybuilding coaches that do a really
Yes.
great job of that. It's not no knock if you want to use any extra. Some people do, some people don't.
Just
Just
know
make
the
sure that
consequences.
just know the consequences. And if you're going to be a coach that's suggesting it, make sure you have the education to keep your people safe. It is like very negligible not to do that. And so Lars was on the side of not like didn't get any help. He stopped doing that. And I think through the extreme measures, he also hurt his back.
Mhm.
And that's where the back injury happened. And over a period of time, he started gaining more and more and more weight back. And with hormonal imbalances, especially with men, it can cause a lot of side effects: low energy, lack of motivation, um, anxiety, depression. So it's just a lot of resistance to get him to create the changes that he wants. And then so now Tobi's on the other side with him post surgery to fix his back and help rebuilding him back up and get him where he needs to be so he's healthy and happy and living his best life. And we couldn't be more happy for Lars because the dude shows up, he does the work, man. It's phenomenal. He's a hard worker. No matter how hard it gets, he gets shit done. So it's really great to see. Really, really great. But from there, Tobi, I just want to say thank you so much for joining on and chatting. Again, guys, we we go in circles, but it's always a fun time. And thank you for sharing your story about how you became a coach and how
Absolutely.
you are a phenomenal coach and how you help a lot of people. So if you ever have any questions for Coach Tobi, how can they reach you? What's the best way to reach you?
Call me. My phone number is no. I'm just
No, don't.
kidding.
You get a bunch of calls.
um, no, if you're part of the Facebook community,
Mm-hmm.
reach out there. If you're not, you should probably get yourself into our Facebook group.
Yeah, our Surviving to Thriving Facebook group. It's probably one of our most valuable free resources that we have. We pour so much information. It's not even funny. And Tobi, Ellen, and I go in and answer questions all the time. Like it's stupid. If you're literally trying to get free help, we're literally giving you all the help that you need. It's stupid easy. Go join the Facebook group. The link will be in the show notes below. Just join. We'd love to have you. But through the Facebook group, where else?
You can direct message me there as well. It's probably going to be a little bit harder to find because my last name has like a umlaut in it. It's like
Yeah.
some letter that the American.
Tobias Bogle.
Yeah, but it's like an American letter that the keyboard doesn't allow. Right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be difficult, but Instagram, right?
Thriving on Tobi, which I'll put in the show notes too
Yeah.
below.
So and I am more than willing to answer questions, help. I'm probably over delivering when somebody sends me a message. It's probably you're gonna get like a
Yeah,
novel.
you're gonna get all the info. But yeah,
You're
if
gonna
you
get
ever
a
have any
novel.
questions for Tobi, reach out to him either in the Surviving to Thriving group or DM him on Instagram and go from there. And if you love Tobi and you think that he can help you, we'd love
You should.
to.
Everybody loves it.
If you want to join the Thriving on fam and you want Tobi as your coach, more than happy to see if this would be a good fit for you. Like we said before, not everybody's going to be a good fit, but if you do feel like this is where you need to be, go ahead and check us out. In the show notes, there's going to be a link to go see what we do, and feel free to reach out, ask questions to make sure that this is a good fit. More than
Fair
happy to have you part of this.
disclaimer. Fair disclaimer. I take what I do very seriously.
Yeah.
And if I have X amount of clients on my roster, and I feel like if I take on more, it's going to water down the quality that I can provide to other people, you got to wait.
Yeah. Many of times have you had a wait list, but I think right now you have a couple spots open, if I remember right.
Yes.
Got a couple of people that graduated beyond you and are ready to do it on their own, which is ideally what we want to
Right,
do.
that's what we want, right? Hire me and fire me.
Exactly. Yes, hire me and fire me. And now, right? So you got a couple spots available. So if you want to work with Tobi, feel free to apply if he's got a spot available. And we both think that it's a really great fit. We'll make it happen. But if not, hope you learned a thing or two. And if you have any questions, you just hit us
I'll
up.
find someone.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll find someone that can.
Yeah, exactly. But if you've made it to the end of this episode,
Ooh,
I want to just say, what?
Say you're a trooper if you made it this far.
Yes, you stay along with our circles, and we appreciate the crap out of you for your time and attention. Means more than you know. Seriously, means more than you know. Other than that, like all we ask is we're just in this day and age where I think there's just not enough really great information out there. I think there's a lot of noise, and it's hard to figure out how to move through those noises and figure out what works best for you. And so if you found this valuable and you think that this would be valuable for other people, all we ask is for you to share that with other people, whether it's on Instagram, whether it's sending it to your friends and family that need to listen to one of these episodes. Please do so. Share the love, share the information, because again, there's just not enough out there. But other than that, love you guys. Until next time.
Yes. Bye.